What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Yala Poppy from simphunter.com, and I am here with a very special guest today. This is my good friend, Justin Lubert, and he is an expert in networking with high status guys, billionaires, celebrities, and very attractive girls that are very well known on social media. Instagram influencers that have over 1 million followers on Instagram. And also, he manages to do all of this networking while bringing in lots of revenue. He's done over $500,000 in revenue in the past year. And in this interview, he has been gracious enough to allow me to pick his brain and hear his story, and for him to talk a little bit about how he does things. What's up, Justin? Was that an accurate intro, would you say?
Yeah, it was wonderful. Yeah, thank you for bringing me in here. Looking forward to giving us value and advice as much as possible.
Awesome. Cool. So before we get into your story, why don't you tell us a little bit about your accomplishments? Like, talk a little bit about the people that you know, talk a little bit about these trips that you do, just kind of tell people what what you've managed to accomplish.
Yeah, so for people that don't know my story, back in 2020, I got in a horrible car accident. Before my accident, I didn't really have a crazy social circle. Those are just like the friends from high school that pretty much everybody has, right? And then I got my accident, and this is during COVID, so we couldn't really do much. There's really no parties, no bars, everything's closed. So what I did is I immersed myself into getting better with building a social circle. Started doing like Zoom calls with friends that I had, and they introduced me to people. And then pretty much in the beginning of September of 2020, I started doing photo shoots with models. And so we DM models, they bring in their friends, we bring in photographers, we get houses, and people would show up. And then those people ended up becoming friends, introduced to other friends, and then we started doing after parties, karaoke nights, stuff like that, to where it's not just photo shoots anymore. Now it's actually literally part of the lifestyle. So eventually we started working from $500,000 houses in Pasadena to now we're getting offered $15-20 million mansions in the Hollywood Hills for free. And it's not just for like the day, we're getting the house even for night till 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Everything's covered. So big collaborations we're building there. After that, we ended up getting access to, I'm not sure if people are familiar with the person named Dan Bilzerian. We got access to that house after we moved out. Yeah, it was run by Wish.com at the time. And basically, I went over there, met with the founder, the CEO of the company at the time, and built a partnership to where I could leverage the house as much as I want, and I could leverage some of Wish's budget in exchange for, of course, some marketing for the company, and brought over as many influencers as I wanted, as many celebrity friends that I wanted, people from reality shows, whatever, models, and we threw parties there. We did bowling nights, we did photo shoots, we did pool parties, we did movie nights, we did arcade nights. We work out the gym up on the top floor. Ended up getting introductions to people from the Lakers, Drake, Justin Bieber, Chris Brown, Moneybag Yo, Tristan Thompson from the Lakers, who was dating Khloe Kardashian at the time. Got invited to like the National Defense Forum a couple of times to meet with executives from Boeing and people from the federal government, senators, congressmen. Got invited to the World Series, the Super Bowl. Got to sit in the field for this recent Super Bowl in Vegas, and also got invited to the MLS Cup. Sitting next to Justin, Magic Johnson, Will Ferrell, get introductions from the owners directly to these people. And obviously getting to network with big billionaires as well that run big companies. Some people ran like the biggest weed delivery services. Obviously, Wish.com was a $9 billion company at one point. And then from there, just keep going further and further and further. And then, of course, I've had relationships with big models with hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers, and kind of goes from there.
Awesome. That's very cool. Yeah. So I just the reason why I wanted you to talk about that is just so people kind of understand what you've been able to accomplish in just a couple of years. And before we get into, how you did it and get into the nitty gritty, like, let's just clarify for everybody, you're not famous yourself. You didn't start out rich. You didn't start out really like with anything other than your cell phone, right? You had a broken neck, you said, you got into a car accident, and you literally just did everything from your hospital bed.
Exactly. I had no family connections. I didn't really start with any connections from the beginning. I pretty much worked my way down with what little information that I had.
Awesome. Cool. Okay, cool. So let's talk a little bit about, anybody who's still watching, I assume is probably pretty curious as to like how you've managed to pull this off. So if you could take us through, let's say, how you would do something like this. Like let's say somebody, because I think a lot of people who are watching this, they don't have a network. They're not friends with lots of hot girls. Maybe they have a little bit of money. People are watching this, but they don't necessarily know how to leverage it. So if you were going to give some advice to somebody, let's say, who's starting from scratch, what would you say is a good place to start for them?
I would say a big thing, and people talk about like resume or trying to get a job, but today's modern resume is going to be actually your social media, your Instagram, your LinkedIn for obviously for business. And your Instagram, I'd say, is even more important than LinkedIn now because you can actually get jobs through Instagram. You can get introductions through Instagram. I get reached out by big companies from Instagram. And basically, your Instagram is when people look at your Instagram, it's showcasing how you're viewed, right? People, it's your online reputation. So if you value the way you're viewed through your Instagram, people are going to expect kind of the same thing with everything else you do. Everything else is probably going to be decently organized, who you are as a person. So the first thing I would do if I was starting out from fresh would be to build your Instagram. And I'd build your Instagram in a high status way and also focus on high level on aesthetics and getting your photos professionally taken, learning posing, working on your outfits, your body language, all these different things really carry into how you're viewed. So if you're looking at my Instagram, every single person I give my Instagram to, the first thing that comes to their mind is, wow, this is like amazing. Like you put so much work into this. I can't imagine how much money was spent on this Instagram, getting every single photo. You travel so much. And then they just see a crazy amount of mutuals as well. So I started just building the aesthetic of your Instagram, your content, profile picture, your bio, captions are also important. So I'd focus on that first. And then from there, you can pretty much move forward.
Okay, that's interesting. And you said to kind of gear your Instagram towards making you seem like high status or like you live some kind of high status lifestyle. And I think a lot of people they associate high status with very expensive, right? High status means lots of money. So, how were you able to do this when you were starting out? Like how were you able to convey high status without dropping lots of money on, pictures or whatever?
So what I do when I was first starting out was researching where the people I want to network, where they hang out. So the people I want to network with, people I want to work with, like government officials, people that obviously are big celebrities in the media space, music, movies, as well as people that are in political figures. And one of those places in LA was Hotel Bel Air because pretty much everyone that comes in that's a diplomat comes and stays at the Hotel Bel Air. So that's one place I get content there. I get content at some of the other high level hotels. There's another hotel in Santa Barbara. It was called the Rosewood Miramar. It goes for like a $1,700 a night there for a hotel, but it's also a very strong aesthetic, right? People respect the checkered floors, the kind of spiral staircases. It's associated with old money, so it's very high status, very strong aesthetic. So I focus on like really high level hotels, and then access to mansions. So the mansions, I got access to those through my photo shoots. So we do the photo shoot, we'd have the models and everything's paid for, but then also leverage the actual house to get content for myself for my own Instagram. So rather than just like the girls get the content, the photographers get the content, I'm also getting content as well. So we kind of like worked together with a couple people. We'd all pitch in and we get access to the house for 6 to 8 hours. We get content at the house. So that's another one. Also, if you have friends that have cars, it's another big thing as well. I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, I got to get content with a Rolls Royce or a Lamborghini or Ferrari. You don't necessarily need those cars because those cars almost in a way, unless people know like you can actually afford that, if you're starting out, then you probably want content that's a little bit more like reasonable for people to understand that's yours, or even it's a friend's car. So those might be like a Porsche, it might be like a G wagon. If you're really, really like not able to get access to those, maybe like a Range Rover, vehicles like that. Even like a really nice like top down Mercedes could also be a good option as well, like an SL or GT, AMG GT could be other options.
So, you
But
don't
really,
think
it's kind of just trying to align with the people you're trying to network with and almost try to create commonalities with them. When they see your content, they can almost like, oh, he gets it.
got it. So, it sounds like the type of thing, like when you've got a little momentum, it sounds like it's a little bit easier, right? You've got some connections, you've done a photo shoot, you're starting to meet people, and then it just kind of snowballs from there. Um, but when you're starting out, like you said, so just to confirm, you said to go to, figure out where these people go that you want to network with, go there, take some pictures that are, have a good aesthetic, that are tasteful. And then is that really enough? Is that enough to where, let's say you meet somebody at a place like that, they're going to see that and they're going to think, oh, this is the type of person who is similar to me. They go to the same places that I do, and therefore we have things in common.
Yeah, I mean, that's just start. Of course, like if there's other things that go into it, like what industry you work in, where you grew up, your personalities have to match to an extent. You have to have basic communication skills. Like those are obviously givens, but if you can almost get your foot in the door by going to these places, you can relate to them to a specific level. You can also kind of speak a similar language, right? Like let's say if you frequent Hotel Bel Air, he could see your content like, oh wow, you were there, like, oh yeah, like every time I go there, I always walk over the beautiful jungle, and then there's always this massive goose there, and then I really love the food at the restaurant. Obviously, you say specific things on the menu. It's been a long time since I've been there. But you can kind of create these small commonalities, and it kind of brings them back to when they were there. They can almost maybe imagine potentially you guys grabbing lunch there at some point. So you can start future projecting things about going back there again.
Gotcha. And then when you go there to take the pictures, to get the content, are you like actively trying to meet people when you're there? You're, talking to people who are there, customers, staff, or anything like that, or not really?
Yeah, so a lot of times I see on people's Instagram, I'm sure you've heard about the people that just go to like hotel lobbies and take photos, and then they don't buy anything. They just kind of walk in, take the photo, and just like leave, and they're just like taking value away. So it's actually not what you want to do. So every time, originally when I was starting out, if I want to get a photo, I wouldn't really take photos in hotel lobbies. I'd more so kind of look for more like I'd say places in the hotel that made it seem like I was a guest. But rather than just like walking and sneaking and doing nothing, I'd actually, yes, I would pretty much try to purchase food. So I try to do something. I'd also like try to communicate with the staff, try to make people's day. I'd give a nice tip. And then sometimes, yeah, I'd even communicate with the manager and saying about future projected potential events we can go together, some kind of collaborations or some kind of referrals I could bring to the restaurant, whatever case, however way I can add value, because then they'll remember you when you come back. Let's say you do get that content there and you create that comment out of that person that you're trying to network with. And you come back, you don't want them thinking, oh, that's just that guy that came in and took a photo in the lobby and left. So like, no, the guys are going to be like, oh yeah, we talked about this. Do you still want to do that? And then now it's high status because now the manager's coming to you about a potential collaboration you guys talked about. And now the person you're networking with is like, oh wow, this guy knows more people than I do.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Do you like, so let's say you have nothing in your pocket, you know what I mean? Not necessarily money, but like you don't have any connections, you're not close to throwing any events or anything like that. You think that's still a good idea to go and kind of say, talk to the manager, so to speak, and be like, oh, someday we'll do, or, maybe I can bring you some referrals or plan an event here or something like that. Even if you're not even close to anything like that. It's not disingenuous or anything.
I mean, the thing is with a lot of these hotels is like I've had many occasions where I can go to a hotel, I can speak to a manager, and I can plan an event where that doesn't cost me a dime. Or they'll do say like a minimum spend of like say $2,500. So okay, cool. Now I've got the venue. I don't have to put any money down to actually get the venue. Technically, other people are spending their money to get access to the venue, and now everyone gets access to it. Does that make sense? You
Hmm.
can future project things, and as long as you can, let's say, like a big thing you could do, you probably want to do a lot of networking, but try to meet other people that kind of have the same vision as you. And then you can also like reach out to people like me or other people that are kind of already done other events. And sometimes you can reach out and just like offer value to them and see how you can collaborate with them. And sometimes they'll even offer their content they have for you to use to fish around to get access to venues. And then now you can give that to that person. Now you're someone of value. You're bringing in social proof of something another event someone brought in. But then now you can say, hey, well, I actually got access to SLS for this event. Do you want to do it? Now you're pretty much, if they say yes, you're part of the event. So it's not
Interesting.
disingenuous.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so let's say that somebody goes out and they take a bunch of pictures and their Instagram is like looking amazing and it's the fucking most high, or it's good enough. Let's say it's maybe not the best in the world, but like it's good enough. What's the next step? What would somebody do after that?
So after you've got your Instagram, I would probably, hopefully by now you've already built a list, maybe of the top 100 people you want to network with, whether they're girls or guys. And then you can pretty much, I'd suggest trying to throw an event. I try to throw an event, or whether it could be a photo shoot, could be a party, could just be like a mastermind you're hosting. It could be maybe you're doing weekly dinners, maybe you're doing something at Top Golf, whatever. I try to host events. I try to get these people out to meet in person. And let's say even if they don't even come, you've got an open thread with them. If they
Hmm.
follow you back, cool. Now you have them following. Now you've got mutuals they can leverage now to reach out to other people that they know.
Wait, so
Things
just to
keep
clarify,
stacking.
when you say reach out and invite people to an event or an event, you're talking about reach out to them on Instagram and invite them
Yes.
through Okay, got it. Interesting. And so let's go back to what you said about making a list of the top 100 people you want to network with. How would you come up with that list? Like, are you going to make it half girls, half guys? Because you know, I think a lot of people, they don't even know necessarily what's possible. So how would you come up with that list in the first place?
I think it depends on what their goals are. Like some people, they want to do it for business. Some people want to build their Instagram and build their network of high status guys that they can do business with for partnerships or bringing in clients, or people just want to make friends. It depends on what your goal is. If it's dating, then yeah, you probably maybe want to have a couple guys on there in case for a reason maybe you're lacking finances. You can partner up with people and say, hey, I'll manage the guest list and I'll do a lot of the work. You just finance everything, right? And then just if you have girls, then yeah, they could be added in as obviously having female friends is also very important because they also know cool guys you can also meet up with and they also know other cool girls. So again, it just depends on what your goals are. But if it was me starting out and looking back when I did start out, it was almost entirely girls because I had a lot of cool guy friends from all the networking groups I was in. So if you join networking groups, you get access to a lot of cool guys, people you can partner up with. And then you just want to build a list of girls at that point. So for me, I had a list of about 500.
Damn. And just to clarify what you mean, like you said you had a list of cool guys already. You knew a lot of cool guys. Does this mean the not to sound like transactional about it, but like the purpose of having them involved in this is to like pay for something, or what value would they be adding? I guess is what I'm asking.
I mean, don't usually want to come from the frame of just paying for everything, right? It's in a sense a trade. It's a collaboration. Let's say if you have the funds to be able to put in to match them, you guys will do equal work. But let's say you don't have the ability to put down the funds to be able to cover the entire thing. Then you need to figure out some kind of value add you can bring to the table that makes it worth them to pretty much pay more to spend less time on this operation.
Hmm. Interesting.
So yeah, it just depends on what resources you have available to you right now.
Okay. And then let's say, because I think, people, this is for OnlyFans management. I think a decent amount of these people have some funds to invest. Let's say somebody has money. It doesn't necessarily mean they want to drop 20 grand a month on different events or whatever, but they have a little bit of money to play with. And let's say they want to go the route of building a network of attractive women, Instagram influencers, hot girls, models, all that. What would be the approach that you think that they should take to achieve that?
If they want to build a network of
Uh,
influencers, models, potential
Correct.
people
Like
to join
like
their agency.
if they want to start the way that you started, because you said when you started it was almost all girls. You already knew guys that were high value, but you started out and you built a network of like 500 attractive girls or high status girls, let's say.
I genuinely think that hosting photo shoots are probably the best one in that sense because out the gate, you're offering value in exchange, they don't have to do anything. So they show up, they pretty much do stuff they do anyway. They're already influencers, they're already in need of creating content. And that's you just connect them with high level photographers, a location, and pretty much everything's done for them. They just show up, they pick their outfits, that's it. And then they get the content delivered to them. So I'd probably do a photo shoot. Um, Pretty much from there, yeah, you build up your Instagram because if you have a not a very good Instagram, they're not even open your DM. But if you have an Instagram that showcases high status, especially if it's taken with professional photography, then they can almost feel like they level with you. They almost feel like you're a content creator yourself. So you actually know how to throw a good event. And then they have a higher chance of opening DM one, responding, confirming, and then showing up.
Interesting. And then in terms of the photo shoot, right? Like let's say this is somebody who is not the type of person to organize photo shoots. Like it may seem, because to a normal person that doesn't know about this kind of thing, it's like a little weird. What, I'm going to organize a photo shoot? Do you have any advice for that person as far as like how they can just get off to a good start? Like, let's say their Instagram is decent, but like, what do they send in the message? How do they find the venue? How do they find the place? All that.
So there's a couple different routes you can take. I'd say there's two ways. You can go, one, you can reach out to a photographer in your town that you think is good, and you could literally tell them, hey, I'm looking to host networking photo shoots in town. I want to connect models and photographers to really nice locations, and everyone can just collaborate and network. Or you could, and then what they can do is they can connect you and they can tell you, hey, yeah, cool. What do you need from me? Be like, hey, I just need help picking a location. I don't really know what's good and what's not. So help you to pick the place that's most aesthetic, has the best lighting, the things that models are probably gonna want. When they open the DM, they're like, oh, this place is amazing. I gotta go. So that's one way you can go, right? Or you
Oh,
can pretty
and let me
much,
just, sorry, one quick question really quick. When you said that's the way you can go, that would be reaching out to photographers and asking like those are the types of people you're reaching out to?
yeah, the photographers are the ones creating the content. So they're gonna know better than anybody what's a good house and what's not.
Got
Because
it.
all these photographers, they spend a lot of time searching through online, through connections, whatever, trying to find the best place to shoot. A lot of them, they can't afford a nice house. They can't really
Mm,
afford to shoot at even a nicer apartment. A lot of them are just renting basic studios for say 20, 30, 40 an hour for like 2 hours, or they're shooting at the beach, or they're shooting at a park, or some kind of public access location that doesn't cost anything. So a lot of them, unless they're like really, really big, they have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers, they would love to get a DM in the request folder about, hey, I want to host a photo shoot. I want to help bring you models. I want to give you a location to shoot at. All you gotta do is help me find a good place. They're probably not, I'd say the chance of them saying no are pretty low.
gotcha. Interesting. Okay. So
And yeah,
yeah,
a lot of cases they'll even invite models for you.
that's what I was thinking too. Cause like
Yeah.
usually photographers, they'll know some girls. Interesting. Okay. And then do you think that would be that method that you just told me? Do you think that would be like the most frictionless way to kind of get into this? What are some other options?
I think for someone that doesn't have any knowledge on photography or film or content creation as a whole, I think that'd be good because if you don't have an eye for what looks good, it's way better than dropping, say, I mean, it depends on how level of a photo shoot you want to be, how big of people do you want to attract. But I mean, a shoot could cost you between $3,000 and $8,000. It's better to consult with someone who knows what they're talking about rather than you try to run it yourself, pick a house that's not good and nobody shows up. Because the first event's the most important because you can leverage that first event, the content from the first event, in order to get access to better locations in the future for free, for discounted, whatever. And that could also be used to pull in high level models, better photographers, guests, stylists. There's so many things you can use with the content, which is from the first event. First event is literally you breaking into the scene. Because if you
Gotcha.
throw a really good first event, people will talk about it, and then people might even message you about it. Like I
Hmm.
had on my second shoot, I had people messaging me about it. Hey, how can I come to this? How can I be a part of this? What do you need help with? Do you want to use my house? Whatever.
Hmm. Interesting. Okay. So let's say somebody they know, whatever, they know people with nice venues to shoot at. What would they what would they say to that person to try to get them involved, preferably without having to, pay for it to minimize costs?
So let's say they have someone in their network that has access to nice properties.
Correct. Yeah. Let's say they know somebody who does real estate or, whatever, they have a business, they have a nice apartment or a nice house. What's the pitch like to that person to get them involved to be able to use their place?
I think it varies. So if it's your place, it's going to be a little bit different than someone who, say, a real estate agent is trying to sell it, or even someone who maybe runs a rental company and just rents it out for short-term, long-term rentals. It kind of there's a bit of a different approach for all of them, but there's kind of one that's similar for all of them at the same time. Just a different way you have to pitch it. So for like example, like people who rent the houses out for short-term rentals, a lot of them rent it out for events. They rent it out for weddings, they rent it for whatever the case. If you can bring in a videographer or photographer who's really good at his stuff, you can get content for them. So sometimes they'll give you in exchange for access to the house, you give them content in return that costs them nothing. Because a lot of times you have to pay between $1,500 and $3,000 just for a videographer to come out and take videos. But you could offer, hey, I've got this photographer, we've got this drone, we can create content for you in the morning. Sorry, I need water. We can create content for you in the morning, and then after we can host a shoot. A lot of times I've noticed with those rental companies, we've done this in a couple different countries, is to where they actually want content with people in it. Because when you have content with people in it, the people that are looking to rent it or buy or whatever the case, they want to be able to imagine themselves there. So when they see people there, they can almost imagine that's them in a way. So if you can host your photo shoot, you can create almost like a very nice lifestyle feel to it. You can bring in people that are aligned with the brand of the location or the company, or the person who runs the house. Well, perfect. Now you've got an even trade potentially. And that's kind of what we did with our third house. We had that $15 million mansion we partnered with. In exchange for content, I was bringing the models and videographers and all that stuff. They gave us a house.
Interesting.
So for someone, again, if someone who buys the house and they own it, well, those people want content to be able to show off to their friends, to be able to show off to girls, whatever. Like you have, for example, a guy who just moved to this sick house, and let's say he meets a girl out, and he wants to say, "Oh yeah, I have this really cool house," and he's like, "Oh, let me show you real quick." And he shows this really high level professional video. It's less of a flex because it's more professional, it's more high status, rather than just you showing pictures or like pictures of you standing there with your friends. It's a different feel.
Yeah, that makes sense. You mentioned that you've done this in a couple other countries. So can you talk a little bit about like what these trips are, how you organize these trips, and what goes on during these trips?
So we have a couple different kinds of trips. We have our like big mall trips to where it's like three people, three guys. They've got like a bunch of models. It's more about experience rather than like content. And then we've got our smaller trips, which have a little bit more guys, but it's more about high level networking with other cool guys. That's something in my throat. I can like barely talk right now. Can I get 1 second, please?
Yeah, go for it, bro. You're good.
I think I'm better now.
Sure.
So these trips, we have the two trips. We have the model trips that have say three guys, four guys. We have 7 to 10 models. We get a really nice house. And it's less about content. Of course, they can get content if they want. We'll have photographer, videographer there as well, capturing candid moments between the people coming, and then of course the models and just even the guys talking to each other. So it's less about content. It's more so if content happens and presents itself, we'll capture it. So then we have the other trips that say have between 4 and 8 guys, and then obviously they have models as well. That one's more about content. So we literally structure the whole trip around aesthetic. So having a really nice house, it's really good for aesthetics. It's really good lighting. So we'll get access to hotel suites, penthouses. We'll get access to high level apartments. We'll go to sometimes like we'll go to museums. We'll fly helicopters. We'll race cars. We'll do hang gliding, paragliding, jet skis, like ATVs, snowmobiling, just high level activities that look good for content. Now it's meant for Instagram to build your high status profile. And sometimes you'll have content by yourself, content with some of the guys. You'll have content with some of the guys and the girls, or even just content with the girls. It kind of just varies on the context of what the activity is, because certain ones fit better with others. And then we have trips that are just purely just guys. They just want to network and don't even want the girls as a distraction.
Hmm.
But 3 different kinds of trips. And then the the ones with the girls in it are gonna be very similar to the ones with the guys. It's almost the same activities, same kind of content, just doesn't have girls as a distraction. When you have just the guys, you can get a lot more done and pile more things in throughout the day. If you have girls there, you got to be a little bit more structured, do a little bit less throughout the day to not exhaust everybody. And then same thing with the model trip, same thing. It's kind of like having 1 or 2 really big activities through the day, and the rest is kind of just relaxing, vibing, having a good time.
Interesting. And then so the trips that are only guys, are those also mainly to just build the social media profile, or is that like is there what's the other purpose for that? Is that like a
So those trips, it is about to build a social media profile. So you're getting content for Instagram. You're getting between 10 to 20 photos. You're also getting video content as well. So you've got video content that can be meant for reels, can be meant for stories, content with you actually in it. So it could be walking through an infinity pool, could be you jumping off a 3-story ledge on a private island that we just did in Colombia. There can be different things of kind of content you'll get. So yes, it's built around creating content, but also building lasting friendships, because you also make a lot of friends on this trip. Every single person that comes is vetted. I get on a call with every single person. So every single person is a potential good connection. And a lot of the people that are meet through the trips become friends for a long time after. They meet up throughout places all over the country. We have people that met up in Vegas. Some people became business partners, started companies. Some people met up in Toronto, went to festivals together. Um, some people actually introduced people to their friends, and now they're dating them. So there's different things that can be captured throughout the trips. And they also do masterminds too. So content during the day, and then at night we'll host sometimes masterminds where we'll go over certain topics that people want to learn about, which could be learn about social media, learn how to network with people, they want to learn how to say scale their business. Some people just want to talk about dating, some experiences they're having, maybe they're having trouble with a girlfriend or whatever. We talk about that. Talk about building healthy habits, talk about gym, fitness. There's many different things we could talk about, because every single person there has like their own specific like strength or something they have deep research in. I myself have spent years and years and years researching so many things to where I have probably a good understanding of tons of different topics. And then I could also expand on that while we're talking. I can learn while we're doing research and split test different things as well.
gotcha? So let's say somebody has like let's say somebody's watching this, they're really interested and they're like, oh my god, this sounds amazing. Let's say they've you learned from Michael Sartain, right? You're his tops. I think you're his top student. I know a lot of his original class of people that he taught, and you seem like you've got the best handle on everything. You can do these events at will. Um, let's say somebody's really into that. They're already kind of interested in this type of thing. And let's say they also have some money to play with, right? And they're like, you know what, fuck it. It's time for me to handle this part of my life. How much do you think they would need to really get to the point where they can jump off and start doing cool shit, start like organizing photo shoots without a lot of friction, going networking with people and, doing fun stuff? How much do you think they would need? And how long do you think it would take? So if somebody wants to fast track it.
How much do you need in terms of finances?
Yeah.
Mm, I mean, I think it kind of depends, because certain trips cost different amounts. So, like for example, for a Dubai trip, that one was 6,000 per person. But then for our Cartagena trip that we had the private island, we did it for 2,500. So it depends on where the trip is. Depends what we're doing, depends how many people there is. But if I was to put a guess, I would say if you really want to step your game up really, really well, really fast, probably do 3 trips. If you did 3 trips, then you can pretty much maximize Instagram to have 45 posts, minimum 45 posts. You probably, if you also do like the video packages as well, because we have my videographer that comes and films my content, he could create personal edits for me from the trip that are like 60 seconds to go over everything you did. You can get video content he's going to film for you, get upload as reels. You have content that's uploaded as stories you're going to upload that are going to fill up your highlights. So I think if you did 3 trips, I think you'd be able to really maximize very well. Our Dubai trip, pretty much everyone got 28 photos and they got like 10 videos. And some people got cool recaps. So it just depends on the trip. But I think 3 trips is probably a magic number for them. Once they got 3, kind of after that point, you don't technically have to go on any more trips. You're kind of going because it's fun, because you enjoy it. You enjoy going on kind of vacation and everything done for you. And there's like 3, 4 photos you really, really want from that trip. And then also maybe you just want to keep making more and more friends. But I have one guy who's been on 8 trips, and he's asking, hey man, when's the next one? He's been on 8 of them. And I usually ask, okay, well, what are you looking for? He's like, okay, well, I want this, this, and this. And he'll go on a full trip just because he wants to get 3 shots out of 15 shots. He wants
Damn.
3 things.
And then okay, so let's put
And
a
then how
price.
much time would it take? Yeah, I mean, we do trips every month, so I guess technically 3 months.
Got it. 3 months, and let's say like between $10,000 and $20,000 ish, give or take, all in.
Mm, yeah, I'd say probably about that. At that point, you pretty much got like amazing Instagram that covers building comfort, creating personality through your Instagram, so people can kind of get an idea of who you are as a person. You're showcasing adventure, so you're doing these cool things. You're flying helicopters, you're doing ATVs, you're doing snowmobiling, jet skis, whatever the case. And then you're also showcasing access to scarce resources, which is high level hotels that cost thousands of dollars per night, houses, mansions, cars, many different things. You're getting access to those as well. So people kind of see you as somebody that they want to network with or someone they want to associate with. If somebody isn't at the level you're at, well, they kind of look up to you. Whether someone's at your level or maybe a little bit above your level, like, okay, well, this person has a commonality. Maybe there's something there. They speak the
Interesting.
same language as me, at least.
Gotcha. So then from there, once you have the Instagram dialed in and it's looking good, then everything else just gets a lot easier, you're saying.
It does, yes, because when you're posting this routine content and you're putting down these tags, so like you're tagging, say, the Burj Al Arab in Dubai, right? The Burj Al Arab in Dubai, for people that don't know, that's considered like I think it's a 7-star hotel, so it's the only 7-star hotel in the world,
Hmm.
to where it just has such crazy opulent luxury that like people all around the world know about it. And so when you put a tag there, people look at the tags and they're like, okay, who's going to this place? And if you have a post that got a couple hundred likes but tons of comments, it's getting really good engagement, then it's going to pop up at the top. If you're going to click on it, like, who the heck is this guy? This guy took an amazing photo. And if it's really, really good, then the hotel itself might even repost it. And now you've got all those people that frequent that hotel, saw your content. They're like, who the hell is this guy? And now they want to get to know you. So sometimes you don't have to even reach out to anybody. They'll find you. A lot of my people, all my connections, the houses, people that want to introduce me to celebrities, they found me. And then I network with them that way. Just by posting the content, putting the tags in. Hashtags also help too. People that repost my content, people that come to my shoots, they tag me. There's many different ways you can pretty much leverage Instagram to get introductions to people without you even do anything. I mean, without you having to like do outreach yourself.
Interesting. And then, so this is kind of a weird question, but maybe you'll have an interesting answer. The people watching this, we all do OnlyFans management. If you thought for a second how somebody would be able to leverage what you do to improve their own business, let's say specifically to OnlyFans management, not like a general business, I'll ask you that afterwards, but specifically to OnlyFans management, how do you think they would be able to leverage what you do in that type of business?
Like leverage the trips.
The trips, the Instagram, the social media, because a lot of people who do this, they're not really the type of people to like, I mean, they kind of try and flex a little bit like Andrew Tate, like, oh, here's my car, oh, here's my watch kind of thing. But it's not, that's where it stops. You know what I mean? There's no, maybe some people post shit with girls, but like popping bottles at the club or something, but that's it. So let's pretend for a second you could wave your magic wand, snap your fingers, and then somebody who manages girls on OnlyFans would be able to, have an Instagram like what you have and display all this status. How do you think that would be able to help their business?
So pretty much any girl that's doing OnlyFans and the thing about doing management, they're doing it because they want to make more money. Or they're making good money and they just want to spend less time. They want to automate it, right? Let me ask you something. Would you want to work with an OnlyFans management company that looks like they're making no money for anybody?
No,
Okay.
but everybody lies, but they just lie in text. It's much harder to lie in like photos and videos of you actually going out there and doing cool shit.
Okay, exactly. So, or would you rather work with somebody who the CEO of the company looks like he's traveling like crazy? He's doing all these super cool things. He looks like he's enjoying life. When you have a founder who looks like he's enjoying life, the energy is going to translate to you. You're going to expect, okay, all the employees are having a good time. The people that are working with him are having a good time. The people are managing. Like, if he looks miserable and he's not doing anything with life, he's probably grinding because things are going so well right now.
Yeah.
Or if he's having a good time, he maybe grinded for a little bit, but now he's actually enjoying the fruits of his labor and everyone's getting paid out. So usually, like a lot of the girls I've known, they're working OnlyFans. My ex-girlfriend, she worked with an OnlyFans agency, probably one of the biggest in the world. I don't know if I'm allowed to say specific agency names on this
Yeah. Go
call.
ahead. We go. I mean, I don't care.
She was
Go
with an
for it.
Unruly agency.
Okay.
You know Unruly, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So probably I'd say the biggest agency in the world in terms of people they have under their management. And she was with Unruly. I mean, they have a big household name, but things didn't work out for Sephora. She wasn't a good fit for them, or rather, they weren't a good fit for her for what she
They're
wanted.
tough. They're tough to work with. But go
They
ahead.
are, yes. But like you join their agency because the people that are under the agency are making shit tons of money. They're making a lot of money. Those girls are making between 50,000 a month and $1 million a month. I know there's some girls on there that are making between 2, 3, 4 million a month, and I know who they are, but I'm not going to speak on what their names are. But I've heard some things. But only really wouldn't be anything if the models they're working with them didn't have any money. They weren't making any money. And so some of them already they were making tons of money and really just automated it for them. But some of them were not making that much. They had a big following, but they couldn't monetize their audience. So they streamlined the process and now they 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50x their profits every single month. So when you're having your Instagram that showcases high status, if you're the founder and you're taking a percentage of the profits that are coming from your signees, your people you're managing, then you must be doing somewhat well with their company. Because obviously, if you're not making any money, you're doing any of this stuff. You don't have the funding to do it. So
That's
you're able to
interesting.
showcase that in photos rather than saying, hey, we make our models this is X amount. Obviously, like you said, you can BS it in writing. But when you're showcasing in content, in video, in photo, whatever, that you're actually doing these things, especially if you're doing it with models that are under your agent. It's like if you have thrown these trips, and like, because I do these trips with girls I know personally. They're not like clients of mine, but if I had them under management, I'd probably have girls that I have signed to my agency, obviously take it out, have content with them, and then boom, now you're literally showcasing in front. Hey, these are the girls that are my management. I'm making enough money from this business to take them and do this.
That's really smart. Interesting.
And then, of
So
course,
go ahead.
pending tax things, you could obviously get some benefits from that if it's
Of
a business.
course, for sure. If you pay taxes. Anyway, it's another discussion. So I imagine it would also be easier to sign super high profile models as well when they see that you're, off fucking doing crazy shit.
Well, it's not just the crazy stuff too. Like I said earlier about having the high status Instagram and then sending out DMs to models or photographers. If you are somebody who looks like you understand content, they kind of almost recognize a commonality with you now. You're not just some founder that doesn't know anything about the industry. Like the biggest part of OnlyFans is the content. People are buying content. So if you look like you understand content, you understand what looks good, what doesn't, you understand the aesthetic, the editing, the way you frame the photos, the composition, they're probably gonna like you better than someone that doesn't seem like they know anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and I think establishes a lot of trust when you show a page that's aesthetically pleasing. Because forget about business people. Most guys don't understand that, let alone people that run companies.
They don't. And I know actually a couple of people that run like outreach for their OnlyFans agencies using the dating apps.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I personally, in my past 2 months, I've gotten over 800 matches on Tinder, just Tinder itself, leveraging the content I have for my Instagram. So you can get this content and use it for Instagram. You can also leverage it for your dating apps too. So they've got multiple streams where this content is benefiting you. They could generate you profit for your OnlyFans agency if that's what you have.
Interesting. Let's think for a second. Let's say, because a lot of the people watching this, they have a business, right? They manage people, virtual assistants, all that. Let's say they have a team that they can deploy, or they're really good at like hiring and recruiting and training people for something. How would you scale this? Is it even possible to scale something like this? Because I know a lot of it relies on building a nice Instagram page for yourself. You can't really hire a VA to fucking do anything there. Do you think there's any room for somebody to hire like low cost virtual assistants to speed this up or to get a better result?
Speed what up? The
The
ability to build up your Instagram?
Yeah, well, not necessarily the ability to blow up your Instagram, but let's say your Instagram is good and you want to throw an event or something. Or really just anything, maybe reaching out to businesses, reaching out to girls. Do you think that Would that help at all? Or do you think it's something that you can handle just from your own account by yourself?
So I, up until very recently, did everything just myself. I never leveraged a VA or anything like that. So, like, the big reason you build up your Instagram is you have to do less work. Right? You have a better open rate, you have a better response rate, a better show up rate because they have more trust. You build more comfort, but also build more status among yourself. And you're adding status to the event because if you're the one running it and you have a good Instagram, they're gonna expect the same thing for the event also being really good. So I think if you're starting out, you also need to be able to train the VA to be able to do the job properly. If you don't know how to do it, having a VA is not going to do anything for you.
Right.
Unless the VA has already been trained by somebody else. So I'd recommend doing the first one by yourself. Don't even bring a VA in. Learn the trade first, learn the skill first, and then you can train somebody to do it. But I would say throw your first event or do your first outreach, do your first whatever by yourself first. You can understand it, you can explain it, and if problems arise, let's say a VA, you can pretty much figure out a solution like that. You already know what it is because you've already experienced it yourself. Once you're done, yeah, yes, VAs would be very, very powerful. I know somebody who does outreach. I think you know probably the person I'm talking about, but they work with they do charity events every couple of months in Los Angeles, and they leverage VAs to send out between 2,000 and 4,000 DMs a period of a month out from the event, 2 months out from the event. So yes, it can help free up a lot of time because that VA can go and build a list for you of people, leveraging many different methods. You can build a list of the people you want, and then they can also send out the DMs because once you have the list, you got to pull up the account, send message, copy and paste, put the photos in there. Like it's a process. You got to go back and forth. You got to keep the list going. See who's coming, who's not. Right? There's a lot that goes into a lot of organization. So once you understand it first yourself, now you can teach somebody else to do it. And then yes, 100% VAs make it so much easier and really implement the process because then you can manage more things at once. So you have more VAs, you can do more work. So then yes, you can go faster and be more efficient with it.
Interesting. Let me ask you this. Do you think, because like I said, everybody watching this does OnlyFans management. If they are reaching out from their own profile, do you think they should not not necessarily hide the fact that they do this, but like maybe not like scream it from the rooftops? Like they can flex a little bit and maybe mention it here and there. But do you think it would hurt their results at all in terms of response rate, open rate, show up rate, that kind of thing, if they're very open immediately about doing OnlyFans management? Or do you think that if you're high status enough and you're flexing enough, or well, if your Instagram is impressive enough, that it wouldn't matter?
Like if you're trying to host these events and
Let's say you're trying to do a photo shoot, right? And you have your Instagram, and you're starting to build it up. You got some good pictures on there, but in your bio, right, it has something and it says you do OnlyFans management. Do you think that would hurt any show up rate or anything like that? Because the girls might think like, oh, he's trying to like recruit me for OnlyFans or something.
I personally would separate the two if it was me. I wouldn't put OnlyFans manager in my bio if it's from a personal account. It's either going to host the event and it's going to be an OnlyFans management event and it's sponsored by them, or it's an event that's separate from it. I wouldn't try to mix the two. It's either kind of one or the other because the girls are going to see OnlyFans, they're going to think, oh, this guy's trying to build lead generation.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to hide it, it's all weird from your personal account. It's going to be kind of like, wait a second here. Unless you're saying, hey, we're doing an event. It's done by this company that I run. That's personally what I do. Like, so if it was me, if I had an OnlyFans company, I would probably say, hey, we're hosting a photo shoot in collaboration with this agency to bring in the location, whatever. And just pretty much giving free value, and the girls are not expected to do anything in return. They don't have to sign or anything. They just get to come and create content. Then cool, great. But if you have it in your bio, you need to also understand if you're not showcasing that it's brought by the agency, people be like, wait a second here. He's not saying it's done by the company in the DM, but it's in his bio. So he's not being upfront with it. They're just going to expect that's what it is, but in a less positive connotation. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I would probably honestly do the DM from the company account, actually. I'd probably do it from a company account. Because if you're doing an event based around a business, you want to probably do it from the business account. Because otherwise people are going to look at your profile and they're not really sure about the credibility of it. So I probably do it from the company account. So like there was one agency, like I said, I worked with that we did 2 events with, and they did all the outreach from their company account, from the talent agency account.
And the
And they
girls
had
that
all the branding for the event. They posted the stories. They had a video that they even made about it. Like they had all the content that went from that account. But then also they did leverage people like me and some of my friends I knew to also do outreach from our personal account. And we also, I think we also in the DM also put that it was in collaboration with the agency as well.
and then so the girls that showed up to that event, were they all like OnlyFans girls or it was a mix?
Pretty much all the girls did have an OnlyFans, yes.
Okay.
Or the ones that didn't have an OnlyFans had a big following. And so they had the potential to already bring in big earnings for an OF if they created one, or rather than an OF, maybe they had like their own website, or there's some of these other websites, these platforms that also do personalized content.
Gotcha. And then if somebody's planning, if somebody would prefer to, let's say, not mix that with business, they want to just keep it personal and network and meet people and keep it more friendly and light and less structured or less business-like, then you would say on their personal Instagram account to not have anything about OnlyFans management or anything like that and just keep it personal.
Yeah, like if you run an agency, I would like you could send out the DM and invite them just like say a regular networking photo shoot. And then if you connect with some of the girls there, you can bring up, hey, by the way, I run an OnlyFans agency. If you're interested in representation, let me know. These people we're kind of already working with. But
But
you're
that,
kind of doing it as a matter of fact. You're doing it to people you connect with already. That way, it doesn't kind of seem like you're running the event just to get people under management. You're also giving value, but you're not throwing it at everybody. You're not shoving it in everyone's face.
got it. So it's
You
less
can
of
do
a
two
hard
ways.
sell. It's less of a hard sell and more of a like once you've already met them and they're there, then you can just kind of casually bring it up in conversation.
Yeah, I would do that. That's so you could either do that or you can be completely upfront. People kind of know exactly they're gonna get pitched from doing this from the company account.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay. Well, that's it's very interesting. Um, you also have like, okay, so you do these trips, right? And do you also organize photo shoots or are you kind of only just doing the trips now if people want to participate?
So I've done a photo shoot in probably about a year and almost a half. So it's been a
Hmm.
long time since I did a photo shoot. We did a festival in the desert, and I brought out about 12 models that have between 50,000 and 3 million followers. So we did that. But yeah, I haven't done a photo shoot in a good amount of time. If somebody wanted to host a photo shoot, I'd probably be willing to collaborate with them. But I've kind of been out of town so much, so people just assume I'm not around anymore. So I haven't really been having as many people reach out to me about it. But I mean, if I was to like, I'm kind of doing them. I do small photo shoots when I travel to these places, but like, I'm not doing like a full scale 20, 30 people like I did in LA. Like the photo shoots are meant to be lead generation. They're meant to be like obviously in a positive way. You're giving value to these people. In exchange, if you guys vibe well, you have good personality fit, then yeah, you guys can become friends, maybe plan stuff, future stuff together. They can introduce you to people, stuff like that.
Interesting. So then if somebody, let's say somebody watched this interview and they want to get involved with you in some way, they have the option of like booking one of these trips with you to go and build their social media. Aside from that, do you have like a coaching program or anything built out? Do you offer that one-on-one coaching, group coaching, anything like that?
Yeah, so I do have a couple people I've done one-on-one coaching with. Um, they kind of had different goals. Some people were doing it for consulting for their business. Some people have like SMA companies. I had one person that kind of did have a bit of an OnlyFans agency. They kind of wanted some help with building out their outreach system, and also more so for them, they wanted to deliver a good, better experience to their people that are already signed under management, give them more value to where they actually want to stay. So for retaining their clientele. But I've also done people that want coaching for dating, people that just want to focus on social media, they want to get jobs. So I've done many different kinds of coaching for one-on-ones, but I actually did want to kind of segment into group coaching as well because it kind of also combines the like the networking aspect with the coaching. So if you have a smaller group, obviously big groups are great too. You can still have really, really big value brought into the big groups. But if you can create like a coaching group that has, say, between 3 and 10, 15, 20 people, then now not only is people getting coaching from you, but they're also creating friendships through that group as well. So they're also making friends, people that have similar goals. Or maybe if they don't have similar goals, they kind of can still align on different things. They can still help each other with other things. So they get coaching from, say, someone like me, but also can get insight from other people on other things as well that maybe I might not be able to answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, and if people want to get a hold of you, I'm assuming Instagram is the best way, or do you have email? What's your preference?
Yeah, so it's a couple different ways. They could either just reach out to you and you can set up an introduction through Instagram or whatever. Excuse me. They could also send me a DM on Instagram, but of course, I actually get a lot of DMs. I get a lot of DMs. I still check my DMs, probably even my request folder every couple of days, so they'll still get through there. But also, the thing they can also email me as well. So my email, would you like me to put it here in the chat, or do you want me to just
Well,
say it?
you can say it, and then you'll send it to me afterwards, and I'll drop it in the description of the video.
Yeah,
in
so you
case
also
you want to
email
reach out.
me, Justin at 10xsocialcircle.com.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, thank you very much for doing the call, my friend. I really appreciate it. I definitely got a lot of value out of it, and I hope people who watch this, who are interested in this kind of thing, I'm sure they did as well. Anything you would like to add before we shut it down?
Yeah. So let's say you are kind of on the fence about like what you want to do, right? The first thing you want to do in anything, right, is build up your reputation. And a lot of us before, we're like, okay, I just get like a little calling card. It's got my name on it. It's got my business. It's got my phone number and everything like that. Social media is now your calling card. Your Instagram is literally everything. I'm to the point now where I go to a city, I visit, I DM 10 people. Within 5 minutes, I've already got 4 responses. Whether they have 1,000 followers, 100,000 followers, 500,000 followers, whatever. And now those people can introduce me to 5 other people. I don't have
And
to even be in
and
that
and these
city
are
yet.
these are not like random losers, right? These are like high level people. They've got connections, type of thing.
Yeah, it could be that, or it could just be really attractive girls.
Okay.
Like whatever it is, right? And then what you're doing is you just need a couple people in every city to pretty much get access to everybody. Like I hosted an event in Miami. I had one introduction from someone I knew from New York, introduced me to someone in Miami. And one person in Miami introduced me to 9 high-level models to host a photo shoot. 5 days notice.
Damn.
So it's like I have people in every big city in United States, pretty much for the most part, which would be like LA, Miami, New York, even a little bit in Austin, Dallas, Houston. The group introduced me to most people I'd want to meet. And that was built through my Instagram. People can say, have this friend, da-da-da, he wants to do this. Here's his Instagram. They look at it like, oh, wow, this guy's like, he does stuff. He puts in a lot of work. Anything I'm going to send these girls to, I'm going to send them his profile. They're also going to be thinking the same thing. Like, oh, this guy has his stuff together. They're going to expect everything's going to be high quality. So they have trust already without even talking to anybody. Just have that intro and they look at your social media, boom, automatically trust, status, comfort, everything's right there already. So understand that most things you want to do, if you have your Instagram, everything becomes 100 times easier. It can be done so much faster. You're doing outreach from for your business. You do it from Instagram. It's put together. More people are going to open your DMs. More people are going to get on calls. More people are going to close. You're looking for a date. You're looking for, so you want to get open, create a new relationship with a girl. You go out, meet people, give her Instagram within 5 minutes. She's taken back. Higher chance to show up to the next date.
Interesting. Yeah, it really does seem like it's the fucking magic key to whatever you want. I know that sounds weird, but like it really does seem that once you have that dialed in, you can kind of just not do whatever you want, but you have a lot more. You can just make your life the way that you want it with whoever you want, kind of.
Yeah, the Instagram, when they're looking at it, kind of gives you, like, of course, none of us want to brag about anything, but when they look at your Instagram, now you can point, now you can point back to something you did, and I can kind of brag a little bit. But it's not even a bragging thing. You're literally just explaining a little bit further something that she just looked at on your Instagram. You
Yeah,
can
you're
like
just
point
showing your
back,
life.
or you could bring up something in a conversation, and now you can showcase to them in person. It's not just them finding you on social media. You're literally talking to this person in person now, and now you're bringing up the content. Now they can see it in front of their own eyes with more context. So the sooner you get these things implemented, I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, I can do it later. There's an unlimited time. Well, there's more and more people growing. There's more people joining Instagram every day. Instagram itself is becoming more and more saturated. More people are joining. More people are getting more and more DMs in their request folder. Some people are checking it less now. So now you got to do whatever you can to keep up with the people that are growing. So what are you going to do? Get the blue check mark, get more following. How do you get more following? By creating better content. Building up your mutuals, building up your connections. So you can get that done, the faster you can make way more money, you have the social circle you want, friends, dating life, whatever you want, put into action very quick. I see people find amazing success within 3-4 months, even less than that even. I've seen people close 50% more deals literally the week after the trip because they posted the content right after another. They're posting stories while they're on the trip.
Love it. Dope. All right, man. Well, thank you very much for the call. Guys, if you want to reach out to Justin, I will drop his contact info below. Definitely also go check him out on Instagram, see what all the fuss is about. Thank you very much, my friend, for jumping on the call. I really appreciate it. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Of course. Good to talk to you.
You too, brother.